What do a broken wooden bench in medieval Italy and today's billion-dollar companies filing for financial relief have in common? Surprisingly, both are tied to the word we know as bankruptcy. Bancarotta, broken bench, symbol of failure. Bankruptcy today is a legal process. It's a term that often sparks fear. Images of failed businesses, lost jobs, and financial collapse. But did you know bankruptcy isn't just about failure? In fact, it has a fascinating history, strange traditions, and a surprisingly important role in keeping economies alive. Welcome back to RookieFactFinder, the channel where we uncover the hidden stories and truths behind the everyday concepts you thought you already knew. And today, we're diving deep into bankruptcy, from its odd origins to how it actually works, to the ways it shapes our lives more than you might think. Let's rewind a few hundred years. Picture a busy marketplace in Renaissance Italy. Merchants sit behind wooden benches, called banca in Italian, trading goods, lending money, and handling accounts. Now here's the catch. If a merchant couldn't pay their debts, it wasn't just a private shame. The punishment was public. Authorities, or sometimes angry creditors, would literally smash their bench in front of everyone. This broken bench, or bancarotta, became the symbol of financial failure. Over time, the phrase traveled across languages, eventually becoming the word we use today. Bankruptcy. It's a vivid image, isn't it? A broken bench in a market square, evolving into a modern legal system for managing debts. So what does bankruptcy actually mean in the modern world? At its simplest, bankruptcy is a legal process. If a person or company can't repay their debts, they can go to court, declare bankruptcy, and get protection while figuring out a solution. It's not always about walking away from debt. Sometimes it's about reorganizing how money is paid back. Sometimes it's about liquidating assets. And sometimes it's about giving people a fresh start. Different countries handle bankruptcy differently, but let's look at the most well-known system, the United States. There, bankruptcy is divided into chapters. Think of them like different playbooks for different financial situations. Chapter 7, liquidation. This is the most common. The court appoints a trustee who sells off your assets, like property, luxury items, or anything not protected by law, to repay creditors. After that, many debts are erased. Chapter 11, reorganization. This one's for businesses, especially big corporations. Instead of shutting down, they get to restructure, renegotiating contracts, cutting costs, and finding a way to survive. Famous companies like General Motors, Marvel Entertainment, and even United Airlines have used Chapter 11 to bounce back. Chapter 13, wage earners plan. This is designed for individuals with regular income. Instead of losing assets, they can propose a 3 to 5 year repayment plan approved by the court. And here's something surprising. Filing for bankruptcy isn't always a sign of total ruin. For many, it's a lifeline, a way to regroup, reorganize, and restart. When we talk about bankruptcy, every country has its own way of dealing with it. For example, in the United States, Chapter 7 and Chapter 11 bankruptcies are well known. One is about liquidation, and the other about restructuring. In the United Kingdom, businesses can go through administration, while individuals may enter something called an individual voluntary arrangement. Emerging economies have also been modernizing their systems. Take India's Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code of 2016. It was a major step to speed up cases, improve creditor confidence, and prevent companies from sinking in endless court battles. Similar reforms have happened in Brazil, South Africa, and even parts of Europe, all aiming to balance the interests of debtors and creditors. The bigger picture here is that bankruptcy laws are not just legal tools. They shape how risky entrepreneurship feels, how much lenders are willing to finance, and how quickly failing businesses can either recover or close gracefully. Whether it's New York, London, or New Delhi, the goal is the same: to keep economies healthy by giving businesses a structured way to handle financial collapse. Here's the million-dollar question. Why should we care about bankruptcy? For one, it gives second chances. Imagine if every failed business attempt meant permanent exile from entrepreneurship. Would innovators take risks? Probably not. Bankruptcy laws create safety nets, so risk-taking, and therefore innovation, can thrive. In fact, economists often argue that America's forgiving bankruptcy laws helped fuel its culture of startups and bold investments. You fail, you file, you try again. On a larger scale, bankruptcy prevents total economic collapse. If a massive company sinks under debt, bankruptcy allows it to restructure instead of shutting down completely, saving jobs, protecting industries, and stabilizing markets. Think of it as a pressure valve. Instead of letting debt explode the system, bankruptcy releases the pressure in a controlled way. But like many systems, bankruptcy isn't perfect. Critics argue that it sometimes favors the powerful. Large corporations can use Chapter 11 to renegotiate contracts, cut employee pensions, or dodge responsibilities, while ordinary individuals face stricter limitations. Take student loans in the US, for example. Unlike credit card debt or medical bills, student loans are extremely difficult to erase through bankruptcy. That means millions of young people remain trapped in lifelong debt, even when bankruptcy could give them relief. Another concern, in some cases, bankruptcy can be abused. Wealthy individuals have been known to strategically declare bankruptcy to protect assets, leaving creditors high and dry. So while bankruptcy is a lifeline, it also raises questions of fairness. Who really benefits more, the struggling worker or the billion-dollar corporation? To really understand the impact, let's look at some famous bankruptcy stories. Marvel Entertainment filed for bankruptcy in the 1990s. Yes, the same Marvel that now rules the box office. Back then, falling comic book sales pushed them under. But bankruptcy reorganization allowed them to survive and eventually transform into the superhero empire we know today. General Motors, one of the biggest automakers in the world, filed for bankruptcy in 2009 during the global financial crisis. With government support and restructuring, GM emerged leaner and stronger. And on a personal level, even celebrities like Mike Tyson, 50 Cent, and Walt Disney faced bankruptcy before bouncing back. These stories show that bankruptcy isn't always the end. Sometimes it's the turning point. Behind the legal jargon and corporate headlines, bankruptcy is deeply human. It's the family overwhelmed by medical bills. It's the small business owner who borrowed to chase a dream only to hit hard times. It's the employee whose company suddenly files for insolvency. For many, bankruptcy is painful, embarrassing, and life-changing. But it can also bring relief, the chance to breathe, regroup, and start over. That dual nature, both tragedy and opportunity, makes bankruptcy such a powerful concept. So the next time you hear the word bankruptcy, don't just think of failure. Think of a broken wooden bench in a crowded Italian market. Think of billion-dollar corporations getting a second life. Think of the families who, thanks to bankruptcy, get one more chance at stability. It's a system that is flawed, yes, but also necessary. A way of balancing debts, risks, and human resilience. And maybe that's the real lesson. Sometimes, breaking the bench is the only way to build something stronger. This was RookieFactFinder. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the hidden story of bankruptcy, hit that like button, subscribe for more mind-opening content, and let us know in the comments. Do you think bankruptcy laws are fair, or do they protect corporations more than people? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.